Hello, everybody, and welcome to our webinar about D2L Brightspace and integration with Electude. My name is Tim van Scalenberg, and next to me I have David McNulty, our customer integration specialist. David, how are you?
Hey, I'm good. How you doing, Tim?
I'm good. Thank you. So, thanks for being here on the webinar. So David set up a lot of the integrations with your school. So he set up the link between Electude and your D2L Brightspace page. So if you have any questions after this webinar is over, you can always contact him at david.mcnulty@electude.com. And if you have any questions about content, you can email me at support-usa@electude.com. All right, so the topics for today, we're going only over part 1 today, so part 2 will be another time, likely next week. So part 1 is about how to create the Instructor Tool only. So the Instructor Tool is a tool for you as an instructor to go into Electude and review your content. You can teach from Electude with that tool. You can build your own courses, you can build your own lessons through that tool. It's a pretty neat tool in Electude, and David designed it into your account, so that's a really cool thing. So, and then the next thing I want to show you is how can you organize your D2L content page for Electude? What kind of ways can you organize your D2L course? Then in the end, we'll give you some examples how to give access to Electude content for your students by deep linking. We'll go also a little bit deeper into what is deep linking actually, and we'll close with some Q&A and discussion. All right, so next week we're going a little bit deeper into the content, and we'll show you how to change the weight of your grades and all that. Yeah, go ahead, David.
I'd like to add that this integration changes everything. If you were using Electude previously before integration, and we're building your groups and then adding your students, with this integration, you will no longer need to do that. The groups are created automatically when you launch either your instructor-only tool, or when you create your deep linking tools for the students. So just remember, you won't have to create your groups, you won't have to add your students. The students, when they come into your D2L course, they're going to launch the tools that you have provided for them, at which point their user will be created, their new user ID. If they're transitioning from a previous Electude use outside of integration, they will have a new user ID created. There's no way for us to combine those IDs. But they will have a new user ID created, they will automatically be added to your group, and their grades will automatically flow to your gradebook. That's the other thing, is in D2L, the grading columns are created, and we will show you how to do that, bringing the grading columns in so that grades have a place to land when the students do their work.
Yeah, that's right. Thank you, David. Yeah. All right, so we're going today to our demo account at partners.brightspace.com. In your case, it will be your school name.brightspace or d2l.com, it depends. And let's log in here. So you should already have access to your courses by this point, so I will go into our demo course here for today. Click here on the 9 boxes. In your case, this could look a little bit different, right, David?
Yeah, set up? Everybody's D2L looks different. D2L is very personal to each institution that's using it. So of course, where we have content, it might be course content, or it might be named differently or in different locations. So you'll just have to, this is just a basic view of what D2L looks like for us, and you'll have to apply it to your specific D2L or Brightspace, that is.
Yep. All right, let's go here into our courses tab. And then for today, we're going into Automotive 22. So that's something we prepared for the webinar today, this course. And then we're going into the Content tab here to create our Instructor Tool. We're going to add a module down below here. Click on enter, and automatically it loads up here in the middle of your page. Now we're going to this drop down menu, what says existing activities. And we're going to look, you see here already there's an Electude quick link, deep link. You don't want to go into that one. We'll show you that in a minute. What we're using that for, this is for your students. We're going into the external learning tools.
There it is.
And we're going, yep. So you saw that tool is called Electude Direct Access.
And we're going to make that so that it's hidden from the students, so that students aren't having to see that, because this is something that is just for the instructor to go in and look at their courses that they have put together for their students. And we'll add the student tools in a moment.
Good point, David. Let's drop down this menu in here, and then we're going to go to edit properties in place. And you see here a box that says open as external resource. We want to do that one, and we want to let the view only for you as an instructor, correct? Do you like this, David, in this one, or would you?
I very much, if you're going to be showing students, if you're going to be navigating through this in a classroom situation where you're presenting it to students, it's best to open as an external resource, so that if you are going in completing modules or anything like that, if you're only using it to build your courses, then you don't need to do it in an external resource. You can do it within the iframe. So that's your personal preference there. When it comes to the student tools, though, we always want them to open in a new resource.
Correct. Okay. So don't forget the visibility. Turn it off for your students so they cannot go into this backdoor into Electude and grade themselves, for example. All right. That's it, right? So let's see how that looks like. Do we have to?
Just go ahead and click there. It'll navigate away, and then you can launch.
Let's click here now on the text, and you see automatically it opens in a new page.
And for your first through, it's going to ask you to agree to terms. That's one step that we didn't undo here for this. When we practiced, we agreed to the terms to make sure this works. But for you,
correct. The first time you log in, yeah,
absolutely.
All right. So you see here our Electude page. We have a lot of webinars on how this all works. A really quick note here. You see here on the top of your screen the modules tab. And what does this mean? Those are our lessons or assignments in Electude. Those are singular lessons or assignments. And this can be sometimes a little bit confusing for you as a user of D2L, because in D2L, a module is actually like it's the organization in your D2L book, and it's not necessarily the lesson on itself, right? So in Electude, they call the module a little bit different, and those are lessons or assignments. So I will only use the word lessons or assignments during this webinar. You see the course tab here. You can build your own courses if you'd like to, assign them to your students. You see here the students tab. Here you have an overview of your students, and we have also the support page. Support page is really important. If you have any questions for us, go into the support tab here, click on tickets, and here you can create your lesson, your question for us as Electude. And we will also respond here in this section if you ask us here anything.
Yeah, I'd like to point out, under the Students tab, you can see that it created this group, Electude 9, based on the course name that came from Brightspace D2L. So that Electude 9 is a group that was created automatically when you launched across.
Yeah, that's helpful. Thanks. Let's go back here to the Brightspace page. So I can close this tab down. And so this is the main way on how to create your own tool. So again, we built it under Automotive 22. You can navigate back there if I like to, and then go into content. And you see here, it's automatically here under the table of contents. And you click here on Electude Direct Access, and it will show up right away.
Absolutely.
All right, so the next thing we want to show you is how to organize your D2L content under like your account here. So for that, we're already in our course Automotive 22. Want to click here on content, and we can like add another one here, a module. Again, a module here in D2L is like an organization of multiple lessons. So let's add here a module. What kind of subjects should we pick today, David?
Let's go with automotive essentials. Do it by content as opposed to by time.
Yeah, sure. Let's do breaks for today.
Breaks. There we go. Subject as opposed to time, because they could do week 1, week 2, and then have the stuff in there. But I think that what I've seen a lot of people doing in my where I'm working with people is they are doing it by subject quite a bit.
Yeah. Okay. Let's do that. And let's say morning. All right. So enter, and we have here breaks high school morning. All right. So the next thing what we want to do is deep link some content under here. So we want to deep link, and a deep link, and I like to this, and David will explain a little bit more, but a deep link is like a link we create between Electude, our Electude page, and our and your Brightspace account. So they basically communicate with each other. So when a student works through a lesson, the lesson will communicate the progress it made, and it will like write the progress to Brightspace. Correct, David?
Yes, Brightspace will pick up when there's when it should pick up when they're in progress, and then when there's a final grade. It depends on what version of Brightspace D2L you're running. Some of them only take the final grade. One thing to note is that when you launch this tool as an instructor, it treats you differently than when a student clicks on the exact same link. So just remember, this is not a student-only link. This is what we're providing to the students to access the content, but you also will use this to access what the students are doing. And we can show you a little bit of that later. And maybe in the next webinar, we'll go deeper into that.
Yeah. So here we see also like we created a subject breaks. You can also do a subject week 1, and then you do week 2. So that's also an option you have. That depends on you, what you like as a teacher and what you're used to, how you teach, right? So you have your own organization. We don't want to change your way of teaching and how you like space everything out. You're the expert on teaching your students. So we'd like to show you how you can organize under D2L, like your structure. So you can do it in week numbers, you can do it by topics, you can do it like morning class, night class, whatever you like as a teacher. So that's a really nice feature you have here. I will go, for our example, I will go into the breaks course here, and I'm going to show you how to deep link it. So let's click here on the drop down under existing activities. For now, we want Electude quick link, deep link. I like that word, David, quick link, deep link.
Yeah, it's a D2L term.
Awesome. So when I click on there, you see here another Electude page shows up, and it can be sometimes a little bit small. So if you want to make it bigger, you can use here in the bottom is like a make bigger sign here. And I'm going to show you first how to deep link a course into here. So let's go to the course tab here. And then I'm going into the Electude Automotive Essentials. We put a lot of courses under here. So those are organized lessons in special lead. It's like a book we assembled, like with different chapters under there. And in this, yeah, so we have a different kind of courses. And for today, we will do the Automotive Essentials. We'll click here on light vehicles. And then we want to go to the basics ones. If you teach high school, for example, scroll down here. And then we're going to look for our brake systems. So we have a long list here, and here are brakes. Let's do the basics here, the normal brakes one. You can see here we have 44 modules in this course with a total of 11 hours 15. So that might be a good assignment for a week, right? So let's click on there. And now we see here a cool feature. It's called Select as LTI tool. So if I click on here, this will be selected as the whole deep link. So the whole course will be deep linked into your Brightspace account. Take a little bit, and there we go. Now we have Brightspace.
This could be whittled down to where you're doing individual modules as the deep link, or in this case, we're doing a subcourse as the deep link. So this will take the students to all 44 of those modules. And so if for some reason there were some modules in there that you did not want to have the students complete, or you wanted them to complete them separately, you could then copy this course into the self-made and then adjust it how you need to. And like I said before, this is probably our next webinar. I'm going probably into areas that we'll be covering in our next webinar. But just to be clear that you can do these quick links at different levels.
I like your cliffhanger here for next time. Awesome. All right, let's go here to our existing activities. I want to show you now here how can you link singular lessons into your account. So let's click here on existing activities again. I forgot one step here, by the way. I want to show you first like how to open this in a separate screen, right, in a separate tab. So let's click here on the drop down menu again, say edit properties in place, open as external resource, and there we go, automatically saved. All right, so let's add another lesson, singular lesson here. So I can click here on the drop down menu, go to Electude quick link, deep link, quick link, deep link. And then you see here we have the course again. I can click here on the modules if I would like to, if I want to grab a singular module. I can also look into the courses for those singular lessons. To do that, I can click here on Automotive Essentials, Electude course. Don't click on the Select as LTI tool because I'm still under the, this is still the course where I'm working in. Go into the basics. For now, I want something out of disc brakes, so let's look up for disc brakes. I'm still in the course, so this Select as LTI tool is still the course. Remember this bigger and smaller symbol here on the bottom. And now I'm at the modules. So like here on the top, if I click on here, I will select the course called disc brakes, and that's all the modules below here. But if I want a single lesson, I can just also click on that module here. So let's say I only want disc brakes and assign this to my students. Just click on disc brakes. You don't see the LTI tool right now. So click here on the name disc brakes with the hyphen under there. This, in my case, it's red. Maybe in your case, it's blue. That all depends how the admin set this up.
And I'd like to mention something regarding how I'm doing integration these days. Is that I am only, when I set up your school, unless I'm asked to do otherwise, and this is the time for you to note this and ask me to do so, is I'm not syncing over the results from lessons. I only do all of the other things, quizzes, tests, the tasks sheets, and simulators and so forth. The reason that we don't do the lessons themselves currently is the thought is that if you're counting those where students say they get 60%, that 40% that they didn't get is like punishing them for learning, as one of our colleagues says. What you want to do is allow them to do that until they feel comfortable, so that then they can take their quiz, and that's what we would normally count towards their grade. So if you want it differently, you're going to have to reach back out to us and request that every lesson come through. And the reason that we are omitting that by default now is because it tends to fill up the gradebook quickly, and and a lot of schools would just prefer to have the stuff that counts added to their learning management system that ends up reporting for the student's final grade.
Yeah, and more about this in part 2. Yeah, that's correct. Like the lessons are designed to learn for the students, to experiment the lesson. It used to be in a textbook, right, that the students got a lot of text, answer questions about the text, and then the teacher would assign a quiz, and actually the quiz counts as a real grade. So you can set this up as well. Correct. So coming back here really quick, we were in the courses tab. I clicked on the disc break lesson, or in this case, we call it Electude modules. And now I can finally click here on select this LTI tool to direct link this lesson into our course here. So let's do that. Make it appear again in a different screen.
Edit in place and then open as external resource.
Yep. And it's saved automatically. Let's do one more, the disc break quiz. Then you see also a little bit, the difference in how to deep link it. So existing activity, quick link, deep link. I can go back here to my course tab. Can go one layer backward using our beautiful breadcrumbs, as they call it in the software world. I'm back into my course. Click on this breaks quiz. And remember, it's not visible right now. I have to click here on the underlined name. And there we have to select this LTI tool. And it linked in here. Click on the drop-down menu, say edit properties in place, and open as external resource. And that's it. Let's see how it looks like from the student's perspective. So we're going to switch to the student's perspective here. View as student. Click on the content. When I click here now on the breaks course, on the top, you see the whole course opens up, and that's pretty sweet. And if you bought our extra product called Classroom, you can even go in the companion guide. So that's a really nice tool as well. You see here an overview of every lesson. All right. So if a student goes out of this lesson and uses the white arrow, even when he's not fully done, it will write back the information to D2L Brightspace.
And this is also a good way doing this. I recommend that instructors don't wait for students to launch these so that they end up in creating columns in the grade book. I recommend that as part of the process of linking these, that you as an instructor go to student view and launch every single thing that you have that you expect a line item for. In most cases, it'll just be the quizzes and tests. Here we're actually sending a column over for every line item that we put in here. So it's good practice to not wait for that, because if you want to normalize your scores or put due dates or anything like that, you're going to need to get those in before the students start launching them, so that you can preemptively make those changes. And we'll talk about that in the next webinar.
Yeah. All right. So the student can actually see his result also right away here. You see, I answered a couple of questions right, and it's right away it's 40%. All right. And even when I logged out, it's already saved. So I didn't finish it, but it is saved. Let's go back to our D2L page here, and we'll show you how the singular lessons look like for the students. So I'll go into disc breaks. When I click on there, automatically this lesson will open up. So the singular lesson opened up here. And some teachers prefer this to assign us singular lessons because they can control it better and assign it week by week or even day by day. It's a little bit easier to check it, but on the other hand, it's also nice to use our pre-existing structure. So those are the two choices you have here. And again, I can get out here with the white arrow if I want to. And let's say I want to go to the quiz. I have the possibility as well. So directly the quiz will open.
And just as a side note, if you go back to that tab there with the Electude tab there, you notice that it opens up right where the students do their work. But when the student opens up a course or sub-course, they have a little menu where they can do other things. And that's just a side note that if you were expecting the students to be able to change the language or anything like that, that you do need to do that from a sub-course or a course.
All right. So the other thing, I think it's almost the end of the webinar. We went through all the topics for today. I want to repeat a little bit what we went over today. One of the things we showed you is like how to build your own instructor tool to get into Electude. And the purpose of that instructor tool, I have to be here, of course, as an instructor. So log out and get back into it as a teacher. So here is our instructor tool again. And yeah, the purpose of this instructor tool is you can go into Electude right away and build your courses, look into the modules. You can even like teach from your modules, so you can like really easy click on the lesson, start module, use our presenter mode here in the top of the screen and start teaching. So this instructor tool is, yeah, I really like it personally. There's other ways of doing this, but yeah, you can get really easy and quick into Electude. So the other thing, what you can do is build your own courses and all that stuff with the instructor tool. When we go back here to our Brightspace page, I also showed you today, or we showed you how to organize your the modules. So you can organize your modules under here with weeks. You can do topics. You can do groups, classes, whatever you like as a teacher. So there's a lot of options. I think I see a lot of teachers actually doing week 1, week 2, week 3. That just keep it simple. Don't create confusion for the students. Like, be really clear in this. And you say, David, you see a lot of teachers doing the topics, correct?
Yes, yeah. You know, and it might be week 1 and then a couple topics, and then week 2 a couple topics.
Gotcha. So week 1 breaks, and yeah.
It helps break it out for the students, and they know what they're supposed to. You know, they don't need to be up in week 13 when it's the first week of class. You know. Yeah, it just when you're assigning a whole course, of course it's going to come across as a subject, and if you're assigning that during week 1, then then it'll be kind of a little crossbreed between the two methods.
Yeah, yeah. So and we also showed you how to deep link the content to the students. So our Electude content, lessons, assignments, quizzes, whatever we have, how to deep link that into your course. And you can do the deep linking in 2 ways. You can deep link a course from Electude into your account, or you can do singular lessons, quizzes, even simulators in there, however you like it as a teacher. So you have those opportunities. All right, so if you have more questions on how Electude works, you want to go to our webinar page. And we pre-recorded a lot of webinars under the webinar section here. You go to recorded webinars, and I would recommend you to go not to the student management because you're managing your students in D2L. You can go into building courses, and welcome to Electude might be also a good one, and DIY tool. So building courses is an important one. If you like to build your own courses, the DIY tool, you can create your own lessons. The simulator is always fun. All right. Yep.
All right, well.
If you have any questions, I will put up our email here really quick. Let's see. There we go. So for integration questions, reach out to david.mcnulty@electude.com.
That's me.
For other questions, support-usa@electude.com. Thank you so much, David. Really appreciate it. And also like you figuring out all the Brightspace, Brightspace and D2L things in the background. It's a lot of work. It's not easy. It's one of the harder ones for you to set up, but I guess it's really rewarding for you.
It's my pleasure. All right, thanks for having me.
Yeah, thank you so much, everybody, and see you at the next webinar. Goodbye.
Bye, Tim.